Inner City Press, and if you don't follow him, he's awesome, had started this 26 minutes ago. And so Trump is being sentenced in the 34 felony conviction of a bookkeeping, I won't even call it a mistake because I don't think it was a mistake to begin with, but even if it was, it would have been a misdemeanor bookkeeping mistake that would have been time barred, notwithstanding anything. But they got around that by tying it to an undeclared, undisclosed, unconfirmed federal underlying felony, which is how they then extended the statute of limitations and turned one payment into a 34 felony charge by breaking down every month's payment, every month's check, every month's entry in the ledger as 3 separate felonies, month over month over month over month over month over month, to get it to 34. It's criminal corruption, in my humble opinion, period. So let's walk through this and see what's going on. So Inner City Press, all rise. I've never been live tweeting. I've never live tweeted a court hearing that I know of. No. All rise. Okay. Trump is from Mar-a-Lago doing it via video login. Wise decision. Virtual sentencing is permitted here in New York. First, please look at the probation report. Okay. Yada, yada. Justice Merchan. Mr. Blanche, do you have any objections to this report? Blanche, it is out of date, but given what we expect to happen today, no objection. What's the report? The report is virtual sentencing is permitted. What's the report? Copy. Well, we'll find out what the report is. Assistant District Attorney standing and reading from statement. The defendant was convicted on 34 felonies. Oh my goodness. This is the first time we have a convicted felon of a president. The court has called it premeditated. The verdict was unanimous and decisive and must be respected. The defendant did not defend our constitutional system of justice. What the F does that? It's too early to swear, and I'm not going to. The defendant did not defend our constitutional system of justice. They're going to use all of this to try to impeach Trump a third time. Jamie Ratskin, Adam Shit for Brains McSchiff. Sorry, I just swore. Adam Schiff for Brains McSchiff, scumbag Daniel Goldman. They're going to try to use this to impeach Trump a third time. Or if they really want to get funky, try to refuse the transition of power now that he's a convicted felon. Well, when we certified the results of the election, he wasn't a convicted felon. Now that he is, we can't have a conviction. He didn't respect the constitutional system of justice. Okay, Viva, shut your mouth. Assistant District Attorney. His attacks on this court and its family. Oh, way to bring the judge into it, by the way. Make the judge party to the suit. The court and its family. On prosecutors and their family. The court found 10 violations of extrajudicial statements. They gagged him and then said that Trump couldn't raise the fact that Merchan's daughter was profiting handsomely from this persecution. Trump leaning towards the camera, then leaning down, taking notes. Chief Justice Roberts has warned of this type of conduct. Attempts to intimidate justice for their rulings are inappropriate. He also warned of the dangers of disinformation. This is communist propaganda right here in real time. Stay the hell out of New York, people. Trump is smart for having stayed in the free state of Florida. Defendant has caused enduring damage to the perception of the justice system. Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. What narcissists do. They are accusing Trump of having done what they have done, which has caused enduring damage to the perception of the justice system. ADA, we must respect the office of the presidency, so we request unconditional discharge. This is fantastic. Unconditional discharge. As the court has indicated, this creates the status of a convicted felon as he appeals. They're telling you in real time what their strategy is. Let him appeal, screw him while he appeals. It creates the status of convicted felon in the interim. That's all. Oh, that's all they want. They want the title of convicted felon so they can do Lord knows what with afterwards, and they will do something with it. This is not for nothing that they're doing this. Justice Merchan, defense. Trump's lawyer Blanche. This case should not have been brought. After President Trump announced his intention to run for re-election, this case was brought. We intend on appealing. Many legal experts share our views that Judge Merchan should be sanctioned for what he's done in this case. Leave that alone for now. Blanche, the American people get to decide. They got to decide. As the trial was held during the election, Trump was elected. This DA promised he would go after President Trump. That's sad. President Trump hopes this never happens again to this country. Okay, fine. This was a case that Alvin Bragg did not want to bring. He thought it was inappropriately handled before he got in. A gentleman was brought in from a law firm. It was criminal what he did. Were they going to name him? Well, I forget the guy's name now. Oh, geez. Chat, if you know his name, I forget what it is now. He was involved with my political opponent. It was legal. It was a legal expense. Experts who are, well, hold on, let's make sure I don't miss anything here. So we go like this. This is why I hate these Twitter. Does it go down like this now? Okay, here we go. Trump, experts who are no friends of mine have said this case should not have been brought, I think is what it said. They all said this is not a case that should not be brought. I think it means experts all said this case should never have been brought. They were all legal experts, I think. This was done so I would lose the election. Obviously, this did not work. I won. I was under a gag order. I assume I'm still under it. I am totally innocent. I did nothing wrong. I see a loud protesting his innocence. I mean, Alex Jones wasn't. The business records were accurate. They were done by a bookkeeper, corroborated. Reliance, I guess, would be one excuse here. And by the way, it was a legal fee because it was structured and paid out as a legal fee. Michael Cohen is the one who actually stole some of that money to do whatever he wanted with. But yeah, he structured it to allow Michael Cohen to willingly steal from him. With all that's happening, a city burning to the ground, you have a gentleman sitting right there who was with the DOJ. He got them to move on it. They call it lawfare. I'd just like to explain I was treated very, very unfairly. Thank you very much. I would love to see this video. Justice Merchan, thank you, Mr. Trump. Justice Merchan, I have sentenced countless defendants, sex trafficking and homicide. This circumstance is unique. No shit, Sherlock. Sorry. Sentencing a president-elect, sentencing a former president after years of systematic, coordinated lawfare. It's definitely unique. I mean, I don't know. How many cases have you sentenced, Judge Marchand, where your daughter was profiting off the case? It might actually be more than one. This has been an extraordinary case. Media, but once the courtroom doors closed, it was just a trial. Jury selection, what is this? Ooh, are we getting towards the updated section here? Justice Marchand, it is my obligation to consider all aggravating factors. Oof. If I'm reading this without going further, it's almost like the judge wants to go beyond what the state is asking. Yeah, you guys want unconditional discharge. I have a legal obligation to consider all of the aggravating factors. You insulted me. You insulted my daughter, who's profiting and pilfering off of this case. You insulted the media. You insulted the court. You insulted Alvin Bragg, Soros-funded Alvin. Okay, let's hear. I have to consider all of the aggravating factors, including already in my Sandoval ruling and other rulings. The protections afforded to the office of the president are not a mitigating factor, but they are a legal mandate. Justice Merchan, this power does not include erasing a jury verdict. Now Trump is leaning back. Next to his lawyer, Todd Blanche, both have American flag label lapel pins. Unconditional discharge has been firmed as appropriate. I impose it. Is that it? Unconditional discharge. Godspeed. Story coming. If like and can. Oh, if you like and can, support PayPal. And I'll give everybody the link to his PayPal. So that's it. Unconditional discharge. What does that mean? Hold on a second. Let me just make sure that we're not missing anything here. It was all political. Unconditional discharge. Poor libtards hooking for jail. No. Well, fuck off. What a bunch of asshats. Two-tier justice. Nobody ever. This person, if I... Sorry, I don't want to put anybody on blast. Well, fuck off. What a bunch of asshats. Two-tier of justice. Nobody ever better come at me with some you broke the law nonsense. If Trump isn't even tried for treason or punished for his crimes, we have no justice in this country. Justice is dead. Advocating for women's rights, economic equality, rural broadband, public transportation, and free schools. No deal. See, you never know what's parody anymore and what is not. So a real kangaroo court just makes shit up to smear someone and then say you are guilty, but there's no penalty. Bragg and Merchan will be in jail by March. Huh? Okay, so that's it. Unconditional discharge. I'm a lawyer. Let me just turn a former lawyer. I guess I'm still a lawyer, but okay, I want to be able to see the full free. Stop moving camera. There you go. I am a former lawyer. People who are new to the channel, I practiced for 13 years civil litigation in Quebec. I never did criminal. The worst grade I ever got in law school was criminal, a C-. But I blame it on, I did all of my classes in French. I blame it on that, if I can. So the case is under appeal, and the case will very likely get dismissed on appeal. What I want to see is the consequences of what are the consequences of being convicted of a felony and then receiving unconditional discharge. Is he still going to go down as a convicted felon now and like lose voting rights in certain states, lose the ability to own a firearm in certain states? Let's see what Grok has to say. Being convicted of a felony and then receiving unconditional discharge has several nuanced consequences. I'm starting to feel lazy when Grok or AI, whatever, can give you relatively accurate answers. Like I sort of feel stupid, like, okay, great. Everybody can do this now. I guess everybody needs to know the good questions to ask for whatever skill that is. Conviction on record. Despite the discharge, the individual is still considered to have a felony conviction. This means that legally, for certain purposes, they are a convicted felon. The conviction remains on their record, which can affect employment, not for presidents, housing, not for things that don't apply to Donald Trump, licensing. I guess Trump might not be able to be a lawyer. No further punishment and unconditional discharge means no additional punishment like fines, probation, community service is imposed. The individual is released from any further obligation related to the conviction itself. However, this does not undo the conviction or its implications for civil rights and other legal contexts. Okay, travel restrictions. Some countries might bar entry. Oh man, this is funny. I just actually played something out of my head, and I want to go see what the markets are saying to this. I think they're setting up for a benevolent Joe Biden move here, but let's see if I can get there. Travel restrictions. Some countries might bar entry or impose stricter visa requirements for people with felony conviction, even if discharged. For instance, the U.S. might still consider someone with a felony inadmissible. Okay, fine. So I don't think Trump is going to have any travel issues going to Canada, but I also don't think that would make any difference whatsoever. They would have to just come to him at Mar-a-Lago, and they would be more than happy to do so. Voting rights. In some jurisdictions, felony can lead to the loss of voting rights. Okay, we know that. Firearm ownership. Okay, social stigma. Legal disclosures. Okay, fine. And then future legal proceedings. The conviction can be considered in future legal proceedings, potentially affecting sentencing. Okay, that's fine. It's important to note that while unconditional discharge is a lenient outcome, the underlying conviction still exists and can influence various aspects of life. In New York, for instance, unconditional discharge for a felony requires the court to state reasons on record, but the conviction remains. In Canada, nobody cares. Okay, so that's interesting. I mean, it fits into what we knew was a strategy. They wanted the title of convicted felon. I think they wanted it before Election Day, not that it would have changed anything, but they got it. And now whether or not they think it's going to prevent Trump from being admitted to Australia, which was founded by convicted felons. I'm joking. I love you guys in Australia. And whether people think it's going to bar Trump from entry into Canada, I don't even think Trump wants to go to Canada. I'm kidding, Canada. I love you also.